is true. The internet is broken. You cannot use the internet today. It's not working anywhere in the world because I wore a t-shirt alongside Ye West, Kanye West, which read White Lives Matter. And God forbid you wear a t-shirt that says White Lives Matter. We wore this for his Yeezy Season 9 fashion show here in Paris. And people are upset. They're very upset about that. They're going, why on earth? How could you? How dare you wear this shirt? How dare you make a mockery of the BLM movement? In addition to this, in case you missed it on Kanye West's Instagram page, he wrote this: everyone knows that Black Lives Matter was a scam. Now it's over. You're welcome. That is the only response, or the only thing that he has said publicly about wearing the t-shirt. And you obviously know, if you're watching this, where I stand on the Black Lives Matter movement. In fact, I'm doing an entire documentary to expose the fraudulent nature of that movement and the organization that stood behind it and benefited billions and billions of dollars because they elicited Black grief. They sold Black people a concept of their oppression. They used poorer Black Americans as a marketing firm for their organization. And where did that money go? Well, certainly not to Black America.
This is a reminder that no one hates Kanye West more than Kanye West hates himself. Because really, with Candace Owens, really, wow, we've reached a new low.
I mean, this picture just really speaks for itself. It's incredibly disappointing. When you have as much influence as Kanye West does, you really shouldn't be playing into right-wing talking points. And again, I'd like to remind everybody that nobody is saying that white people in their lives don't matter. It's just that Black people are actually oppressed in the United States. White people aren't.
Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, David McAtee, Casey Goodson Jr., Andre Hill.
You're arm in arm with Candace Owens, wearing a White Lives Matter shirt. It doesn't matter. I don't care what the reason is. It's a miss. Because she means it, right? But her smile pains my heart. And also, who the fuck are these Black people around just letting this happen?
3 reasons why Kanye is wrong for this: diminish the voices of poor and disenfranchised Black folks, curry favor with white people as one of the good ones who get it, reap the benefits of your proximity to whiteness.
Dion Flood, Andy Lopez, Eric Garner, John Crawford III, Michael Brown Jr., Ezell Ford, Laquan McDonald, Tamir Rice, Natasha McKenna, Walter Lamar Scott.
Some white folks couldn't exist, not even for a moment, in a world where whiteness wasn't the center of attention.
If it weren't for Candace Owens, I would almost think he was going for irony. But her looking at him like that and their arms being interlocked, it's too far. It's too far gone.
Everything that's in front of you that's as popular as Kanye West is there for a very specific reason. When you see someone like him, you should never think it's an organic event that's occurring. That he has an agreement with these people to perpetuate certain agendas. Every Black leader, but let's think about it, most of these people are just entertainers. They're not equipped to lead in any way. That you see with such little pushback, you need to understand this is a controlled opposition to give you the illusion of progress, of freedom. It's not real.
Elijah McClain, Trayvon Martin, Wendell James Allen, Sharice Francis, Rekia Boyd, Tamon Robinson, Sharmel Edwards, Chantel Davis, Reynaldo Cuevas, Jordan Russell Davis, Melissa Williams, Timothy R. Russell.
He's also standing side by side with a tool of white supremacy, Candace Owens, very foolishly, very narcissistically, that these two people represent us at all. I mean, the communities of color, the Black community specifically. They are so out of touch that they thought drawing these two people together and doing this was going to cause some kind of an epic moment.
Kanye West, Candace Owens wearing White Lives Matter sweatshirts. At best, it's performative. And at worst, it's offensive. Incredibly frustrating. What is your intention in your action? See, is your intention to undermine the legitimacy of a movement created upon Black and brown people being killed without justice?
I just started jotting down some things that he was saying because he was actually giving an interview to another magazine. And he said, I perform for an audience of one, and that's God. I loved that statement, so I wrote it down. He also said, quote, utopia is possible for it not who we are being led by. I'm going to say that again. Utopia is possible for it not who we are being led by, which of course leads me to think about Black Lives Matter again and these people who claim to be leaders and knew that what they were doing was further dividing the masses. I mean, the whole idea here via the Black Lives Matter movement was to make sure that Black people saw oppression and saw white supremacy surrounding them and convincing them that if they leaned into this narrative, that somehow their lives would be better. It was a mirage. Actually, that's a word that Ye used during the breakfast too. It was basically a mirage, right? This idea that somehow all we needed to do was burn down our own neighborhoods. All we needed to do was have our youth wearing a George Floyd t-shirt. All we needed to do was loot Targets and loot these expensive stores, and somehow justice would be delivered. And of course it wasn't. There is a deep irony and a sad irony when you consider that wearing a t-shirt has led such a tremor throughout the world, right? A t-shirt that says White Lives Matter, which should be implied, right? White Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Asian Lives Matter. It should be implied. Yet people are angry and they are being vicious online because they can't believe that we have the audacity to detract from the movement, which is a lie, right? Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter, then some of these things that we have been talking about on this show, things I've been talking about throughout my entire political career, would be getting attention, not the t-shirt, right? Not the t-shirt, but these actual statistics that matter. And here are just a few of them. 117,626 Black children were killed by surgical abortion in the United States in 2018, right? Those are recent statistics. Just so we are clear, abortion in America has contributed to the greatest decline in Black population since the first Black slaves arrived. You will hear people often talk about lynching. This is like a new thing. They like neoliberalism. They can talk about lynching and they compare everything to lynchings. It's just like being lynched. Well, for your reference, you should know that 4,467 people in the United States were victims of lynchings from 1883 to 1941. 3,265 of those people were Black. And you keep talking about lynching as this horrific thing that's happened in the past, right? And yet when you say to people today that 20 million Black infants were aborted, they don't even blink an eye. They don't even bat an eyelash. No, less than batting an eyelash. They tell those same Black people that they need to be outraged when a Planned Parenthood clinic shuts down. 20 million. When you talk about people that are killed in the millions, when you talk about the Jewish Holocaust, when you talk about the Rwandan Holocaust, people are, oh my gosh. Oh my, this is horrible, of course, because it is horrible. But for whatever reason, since we have convinced ourselves to genocide our own offspring, nobody cares. Nobody cares. They don't bat an eyelash. In fact, they tell you that it is your right. So think about that. 20 million Black babies, and yet a t-shirt is what got attention last night. In 2012, more Black babies were killed by abortion in New York City than were born. Imagine that, your abortion rate being higher than your live birth rate in a city. And they celebrate it. Do you remember notoriously the governor lit up the city pink when they talked about expanding abortion rights, expanding the Black genocide, light up the skyscrapers pink. It is a win. A win for who, though, is the question. A win for who? 79% of Planned Parenthood abortion facilities are located within walking distance of neighborhoods that have a higher proportion of Latina and Black women. But that's not the only thing that's killing Black America, literally. We also know obesity is killing Black America. I wish, you know what we should have done? We should have put a White Lives Matter t-shirt on Lizzo. Maybe we could have gotten a lot of attention about obesity and how it's actually killing Black Americans. Obesity is the #1 killer in America. Okay. I know Black Lives Matter told you it was police shootings, right? And made you think that thousands of Black men were dying at the hands of police. No, absolutely not. I think in the year 2020, was it 9 unarmed Black men were killed by police? 9 of them. But obesity is killing people at a very high rate, and Black women have the highest rates of obesity. So the #1 killer, and of course, we sit at the top of it. Black women, 56.9% of us are classified as obese. We shouldn't talk about that. You know why? Because it didn't have a t-shirt on it that said White Lives Matter. You talk about criminality. No one wants to talk about it if you're not talking about a police officer, right? People don't want to talk about the fact that black people are slaughtering other black people. People don't want to talk about black on black crime. It doesn't matter because we're doing it to ourselves, right? Just like we're aborting our own babies. Applaud it. Applaud it. In fact, put it in the music. Put the criminality in the music and celebrate it. Give it a Grammy.